Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Bio. Today, I've got an epic coach that's part of our team. Autumn, welcome to the Beyond the Bio episode.
Thank you.
It's good to have you, and I'm so excited. This is always a great opportunity for our clients and potential clients to see what our coaches are really about. Because a lot of times coaches can seem to have it all put together and we're just as normal and flawed as everyone else. So it's always fun to get to know you a little bit better. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start with a speed round. And what I want you to do is to summarize your mantra in 10 words or less.
I'm not sure this is 10 words or less, but this is actually a quote that my mom gave me on a board, and I love this. So this is it. It says, don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. And that's by Howard Truman. And that's what I live by.
Oh, I love that. And that backs into your book and everything else that you're all about. So we can see where that inspiration came. That is for sure. Okay. So speaking of a book, if your life were a book, what would be the title?
Probably Hot Mess. Just joking. It's just like what you said. We're all human, right? And so I remember my friend calling me that and I was super offended. I was like, what? But yes, it's a hot mess. No, probably overcoming things, like maybe overcoming and conquering.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of challenges when, with hot mess comes hot opportunity, right? To unwind.
That's exactly right.
A lot of learnings that go along with that, right? Okay. So I'm curious to see if you're going to be different than any other coaches that we've talked to so far. But what is the craziest thing you ever did as a kid that your parents never found out about?
I think sometimes we think about the craziest things as being a teenager, right? And of course I did the teenager stuff, but what I still feel bad about is I must have been like 6 or 7 and my brother was like 2 years old. He was in a car seat and my dad ran into the hardware store. That's like back in the day when you could leave kids in cars. And he wanted to get out of the car and I wouldn't let him because I was like supposed to be the babysitter in the car. And I smashed his hand in the car door when he was trying to get out. And I was so worried I was going to get in trouble. I made him stick his hand in his pants for like in his pocket for, I don't know, days. Like I made him hide it and I threatened him, like, if you ever tell mom and dad, the poor little guy was just crying and crying, but I was trying to be such a good babysitter. So I still feel bad about that.
That is hilarious. I'm assuming he has no permanent damage to his hand, right? So
no, it was fine, but it hurt him. I felt so bad.
Oh, I know. And that is the worst feeling, slamming your hand in a car door. That is the worst feeling. Okay, so changing topics a little bit. What's your favorite hobby?
I think anything on the water, in the water. I was just live on islands and I just love being around the water. So yeah, not a huge hobby person per se, but that's what I enjoy doing.
Yeah, and you're a 2-island girl, right? So
yes.
Here, so that's always exciting as well. And
yes,
you could have dinner with anyone from the past or present. Who would it be?
Probably my grandma, because she passed and she was my best friend and we loved doing lunch or dinner together and always just felt like myself and unconditionally loved. And I think it's nice to be around somebody that either inspires you or you feel unconditionally loved.
Yeah. And there's always those questions that you're like, oh, I wish I had asked that, right? Or
yes.
I wish I knew more about this part of their story or whatever the case may be.
Yes.
Okay. So here's our last of our speed round questions. If you had the power to change one single thing in the world, what would it be?
Definitely connection. I was just talking to a friend yesterday that lives on the other side of the earth, and we both agree that it's just, if we could change anything right now, it would be connection and how humans connect with each other.
And so what do you think is missing?
All sorts of connection. I mean, things have obviously changed, especially after COVID, but even before then, like technology has completely changed the way we connect. And I think just, when we live in little tiny places or developing countries and you go down the street and people kind of know your name or wave to you versus maybe living in a big city where you walk into a restaurant, and nobody even recognizes or knows your name. So even the way strangers interact, all the way to how friends interact or how people connect at work or maybe working remotely and it's harder to connect or build those relationships. So I feel like there's connection is something more of an effort now. And I had an 11-year-old tell me the other day, she doesn't need friends because she has everything. And then I had a 20-year-old tell me the other day that she doesn't need friends because it's too much energy. Like she doesn't have time for them. And I was like, oh my gosh, like there's such a To me, connection is where I learn, I grow, and I hope I can impact other people's lives. But I think connection is just something that is invaluable. You can't put a price on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this leads us into the next round of questions in terms of really understanding why you're coaching and all of that stuff. So what fires you up about coaching?
What fires me up is when I can see where somebody wants to be because they verbalize it, and that they're either stuck or unfulfilled, or maybe it's just a little fuzzy. So what fires me up is like clearly seeing that bridge for them to be able to transform into that other place.
Yeah, it's amazing when you see the light bulb come on, right? And that
Yes.
they've been struggling with for so long unnecessarily, because let's face it, no one gets coaching if they have a problem, right? They've got to be on the struggle bus for a bit before they decide it's time to put some effort into it. And when you finally see that breakthrough, it's amazing, isn't it?
It's awesome.
And so what is the most common problem that your clients come to you with, and how is that holding them back?
I think sometimes it's imposter syndrome. I work with high-end executives that feel like they got the position because they don't know why. They're still like, I don't know why. And they go through it in their heads over and over. So they're not leveling up. They're still kind of hiding out maybe in that position. And or maybe somebody feels like successful, like on paper, but they don't see it. And they are still just feeling, whether it's unfulfilled or fuzzy, and they're not bringing all of themselves to the table. And or rather, people are very clear where they're at and they know where they want to go, but they cannot see that path. It's very, very fuzzy for them. And maybe it's because it's a new path. Maybe somebody rose in corporate America or in government or whatever it is, and they rose and they feel accomplished in what position they're in, but they have something else inside of them that they know is supposed to come out, whether it's starting their own business or maybe it's a talent or something, but they know something's inside of them. And to me, the world's waiting for it, but they can't always just see that clear path.
Okay, awesome. And as they work with you, then how do they solve those problems? And what is life like for them on the other side?
Well, of course, through the courses of this program. And I feel like taking it just step by step. And to me, when you take it step by step, and a lot of times I feel like people see it as huge mountains, like, oh my gosh, for me to accomplish this, it's a huge mountain. A lot of times it's just breaking it down and doing little steps. And I feel like those steps give people momentum to start saying, oh my gosh, now I can see it a little bit clearer. So as soon as we take those steps through it, to me, every time I've done whatever I've set out to do, it's always been, I either can't do it, I don't have the resources, I don't have the knowledge, I'm overwhelmed. And I've hired tons of different coaches in my life, but every time I can sometimes break those down into bite-sized pieces through courses and through walking through it, that's when I start building a clear vision. And that's when I can see my clients doing the same thing. And then on the other side of it, I feel like people absolutely hit their genius spot, and or where they feel like, oh my gosh, I'm in my purpose. Like that's when they're jumping out of bed on a Monday morning. And so that's what's exciting to me, is to see that transformation take place.
That's awesome. I love that. And when they're there, they become unstoppable, right? And
yes,
I think so many people kind of free flow through their careers. Things happen, they keep going with the flow. Then as soon as, like you mentioned before, it's not serving them, they're not feeling fulfilled, we don't have the skills to know what to do, right? And that's where the work that you do is just so important. And a lot of times our own careers really do help inform our coaching and how we show up for our clients. So share one of the most epic moments of your career.
yes, I think career and personally, but I think I've had two. One professionally, well, I mean, I've had so many different random weird careers, from law enforcement, obviously, to social selling. But when I hit the top VP level, it wasn't actually even the top level, but it was a level that I never thought I was going to be able to hit. And there was a celebration for that. And for some reason, I think it's because I thought, never, it's for somebody else, maybe someday, all of those things that we tend to put in front of us. And the fact that I just set my mind to it and I said, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it fast. And so that was a very exciting thing, as far as partnering with people and building a team to be able to make that happen. So it wasn't just a me thing, it was a team thing. And that what was fun, is to really help kind of show people the way and show people that it's possible. That's what was exciting for me. And then when my book came out, I never thought I wanted to write a book. I really can't even hold still long enough to write a book. But when the book came out of me and I published it, I just thought like, wow, the book's going to go do its thing. and so many authors say the same thing, is it's like having a baby. Like you get so excited, it's like outing you, but it's an accomplishment because a lot of people will say they are going to do it. And, it's a process and it's discipline. And I'm on my second book and it's slower because I'm not as disciplined. Something's going on, but it takes discipline and it takes really a decision. And that's what, so when it actually came out, it was pretty exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got such a great story to share. I'm glad you had the discipline to do that for sure. What's one thing that you have done differently in your journey?
I would have let go of things that are not serving me or no longer serving me way earlier. Rather it was people, rather it was feeling guilt for moving ahead, rather it was limiting beliefs, whatever it was for the day, is to learn. Learning to let go, I believe, is a skill. We're not taught, like when you're little, like, oh, just let go. I mean, maybe you have a hamster that dies and you teach it, you teach your kids like, just let go, but we don't really usually have coping skills with that, or to even recognize things that aren't serving us. And that's what coaches have helped me with. That's what I have helped clients with, is really even identifying them, whether it's in between your ears, whether it's going on, in that gap caused your head, or rather it's just people surrounding you or something that, rather it's an organization or people around you that's just not serving you anymore. So it's just recognizing that and also building the skill set to let go.
Yeah. All right. I love that. So what would you say to someone who's considering a coach and considering you as a coach, but are still not sure if it's right for them?
Jump in, come on, like, let's go, jump in the deep end. Now, I remember feeling every time I've hired a coach or have decided to do something different, I remember that feeling of like the phone ringing and me like, you have the wrong number. Like, I'm just not ready. Maybe tomorrow, like maybe I'll just let it go to voicemail. But to me, it's whenever I feel that feeling in my stomach of like being a little bit anxious, usually that's, to me, when big things are going to happen. And for me as a coach, I am a no judgment coach, and I have had clients from all walks of life. And so it doesn't matter what is going on in your life. To me, it's if I'm the right fit. And again, there's never, to me, coaching it has to be a good fit for both people, but it's not a forever thing, right? And you can always, if it's not working, you can always, to me, it's a no judgment. Also, there's never a closed door one way or the other. Is that I want somebody to be able to be comfortable and also feel like they're seeing results, that it's worth their time and money to be able to say, I'm ready. Because I think for me, it's a big deal. Anytime I hire anybody for anything, I know that sounds rude, but it doesn't matter if it's a housekeeper, a personal trainer, or a business coach, or I mean, my time and my effort and my money, it's a big deal. And so I don't want to just do that nonchalantly. And so I'm highly committed to clients that actually take that step and say, I'm ready to invest in myself.
Awesome. I love that. And last question for you then. A great coach can really tee up some thought-provoking questions that help their clients dig deeper and grow. So what is the one question or challenge that you want to leave with our viewers today?
Besides what we talked about, the one thing you need to let go of, like, what is the thing? To me, it's like, if I could give you one thing, or you could have anything that's not materialistic, but anything else that if you had that thing, you would be where you want to be.
All right. And we'll leave it at that. So thank you so much for your time today. For those of you who are watching, Autumn is an amazing coach, so feel free to click the link, get on our calendar, see if you guys are compatible, because she is going to help you grow so much further and so much faster. So thanks again for your time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.